besides communication, I think is really important. Having love, obviously, that's very important. But
Huge.
really, knowledge. You need to make sure that you have the knowledge necessary. But if you don't, you need to make sure you have the right tools to get the knowledge. Whether that is, the right doctor or coach or anything, family member.
Michigan Family Wellness, Episode 8.
Here at Michigan Family Wellness, we believe chiropractic care and nutritional-based therapies are a foundational part of a healthy family lifestyle. No matter where you're at in the mitten, having a family is such an exciting time of life. So instead of feeling overwhelmed by stress, fatigue, and responsibilities with the kids, we invite you to become part of this empowering community to create happy, healthy families. By providing engaging interviews and practical applications, Dr. Wollner cultivates family health by equipping our listeners with the tools they need to elevate wellness in their own family. Dr. Wollner passionately serves the Michigan community at his chiropractic and nutrition-based practice, where he specializes in pregnancy, pediatrics, and family wellness care. And now, here's your host, Dr. Kyle Wollner.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Michigan Family Wellness. I am your host, Dr. Kyle Wollner, and today's guest is Coach Lauren from Power Performance Gym. Earlier this year, we had Dan and Ben from the gym come on the podcast, so I encourage you guys to go ahead and check out episode 2. But because being a family is such an important part of the show here, we really wanted to get Lauren's perception and unique perspective, especially as it relates to women starting a strength training program. Originally from Allen Park, Coach Lauren combines her physical therapy experience and passion for fitness to help her clients each session. As a PTA, Lauren has extensive knowledge and experience with soft tissue and manual therapy. Coach Lauren uses weightlifting to bodyweight exercises to practice what she preaches. She loves teaching women all the benefits of lifting. You can find her at Power Performance Gym, dedicating her time to helping kids to senior citizens reach their goals. And before we dive into today's interview, I want to encourage everyone to visit MichiganFamilyWellness.com and view the show notes page for this episode. You can also expand the show notes on your mobile device by tapping the album artwork and viewing all those clickable links and resources that we'll reference today in the episode. Remember, a central tenet of the Michigan Family Wellness podcast are the practical applications to elevate you and your family's health towards restoration and resiliency. At MichiganFamilyWellness.com, you can also find the schedule of exciting live events I'm hosting at Canton's Summit on the Park. I encourage you to attend and invite friends and loved ones because there is an exclusive offer that's only available to those who attend those live events. We just had a fantastic turnout at the Leaky Gut Seminar. It's always fun to see people connect with the information and begin to apply it for immediate impact. Coming up on June 4th, my good friend Lisa is leading a guided meditation class that will gently ease you into a state of blissful relaxation. And on June 11th, we'll be entering the world of leaky brain, which is almost part 2 of the Leaky Gut Seminar. So if you missed the gut talk, you'll definitely want to catch Leaky Brain because this is where so much current research and science is surrounding concussions, traumatic brain injuries or TBIs, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, and so many other neurodegenerative, neurocognitive diseases. But most importantly, what we can do about them clinically in terms of palliative care, prevention, and in some cases, reversal. I also want to highlight a women's series we're doing starting this summer. Starting in July, we'll be covering chiropractic care for pregnancy and pediatrics, and we'll be filling August with the Female Hormone Symphony and natural birth techniques. So again, be sure to join us for these impactful and empowering events where you'll walk away equipped to elevate your family wellness. And don't forget about that exclusive offer for those who attend. And yes, you'll have to attend to learn what the offer is. All right, everyone, without any further delay, here's Coach Lauren. Welcome to the podcast, Lauren. It's so great to have you.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited for this episode, everyone who's listening. As you know, Lauren works with Power Performance Gym over in Livonia. We had the episode earlier this year with Ben Knapp and Dan Allison, and we just really wanted to include Lauren as part of the family here for Michigan Family Wellness and let everyone know what she's doing in terms of elevating family wellness in this community. So again, Lauren, thank you for being here today.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
I remember meeting you at the Hip Hinge event, and just seeing your passion, seeing your energy, and I was just like, man, we have to have this person on the podcast. So that was great. Was that exciting for you? I mean, that was just such an awesome event.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed being there, and actually just meeting you too and listening to you, because that was really the first time that I got to speak with you. And I even learned a few things from you. I really appreciated it, and I enjoyed the whole seminar too. I thought it was great. I'm looking forward to doing actually another one like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're all about collaboration here. I mean, our motto is, we can do far more together than we could ever do apart. So
definitely.
All right, Lauren. Well, let's go ahead and just jump into what we usually talk about with our episodes here. Can you tell us what family looks like for you, or why you're so passionate about serving families in this community?
Oh, well, I guess I'll tell you a little bit about myself and family that's important to me is, well, I'm 24 years old. I'm from the Downriver area, Allen Park specifically. I graduated from Allen Park. Then I continued on at Baker for physical therapy, and then now I'm a PTA and a strength coach. But a little bit of history about myself more is my mom and my dad. My mom's a nurse. My dad's he owns Aday's Roofing. They both live downriver.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I have an older sister who lives in Grand Rapids, who works for a nonprofit organization.
Yeah.
And then a younger brother that lives in Grand Rapids as well. But I previously worked in physical therapy offices, but ultimately decided being a strength coach was more what I'm truly passionate about it. Power performance actually specifically, because I know there's a lot of different, personal trainers, strength coaches out there, but, power is great. It just fits me well. It's a good fit for me. But I practice all my physical therapy experience and all my education stuff. I do it all every day, all day with my clients, and I really enjoy it. I really love it. So
yeah. And I think, during our pre-chat, you were even saying how, you really love serving, everyone really. All the way from, the entrepreneurial, women that you work with in their, late 20s, early 30s, all the way to the kids, all the way to, maybe more of a senior demographic. You're really looking to serve everyone, really. Is that right?
Yeah, that is right. In the past, in my experience, I've had a lot of experience with senior citizens, older to kids, but currently I train a lot of women, and I love it because I can connect with them, obviously, the best, people my age and kind of just like-minded, but, maybe not even, maybe just, completely different from me, but I enjoy it. I love teaching them new things and showing them that, women can strength train and how beneficial it is for you and how healthy, and it's good for your brain too. It's a lot of women have this preconceived notion that, they need to just do a bunch of cardio and, walking or running, and, they don't want to even pick up a dumbbell or a kettlebell. And
right.
It does a lot of great things for you. So I like being able to just show, younger women or, even a little older too.
Sure. Yeah, well, we're gonna come back to everything you're talking about because I really want to go there. That's really good stuff that I think our listeners need to hear. But before we do, we have a saying here on the podcast that our listeners are smitten with the mitten. Can you tell us about your favorite place in Michigan, whether it be a lighthouse, a trail, a beach, a park? Give us some insight there. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have listened to, I don't know if all of them, but I'm pretty sure, definitely a couple of your previous podcasts, and I feel like a copycatter, but definitely the Sleeping Bear Dunes. Honestly, anyone who goes there, I don't know how they couldn't say that, but I love going there. I've gone there several times. I love outdoors, the calmness, the sense of clarity you get there, just this beautiful scenery. Obviously, I just love it. But also along with that too, my dad owns a cabin up north in the Atlanta area.
Oh my
I
gosh,
think
yeah.
yeah, you're familiar with it.
No, it sounds so great to just be able to say that, own my own cabin up north, you know.
Oh, I know that's one of my goals is to be able to do that because I mean it's and raise a family and be able to take them there because growing up just being able to go there almost every weekend, learn how to four-wheel, fish,
Mm-hmm.
snowmobile. I mean that really is I feel like it helped, define my childhood. I loved being outside and just I don't know, I mean just all those experiences. I loved it. When I think back to my childhood, those are those are my favorite times, that and
Yeah.
playing sports. So
Mm-hmm.
those are definitely my favorite places in Michigan.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Lauren, let's go ahead and jump into some meat and potato content for our listeners here. We talked about, I mean, you kind of got into it a little bit earlier, but, in the introduction that, our listeners heard, we know that you have this background in physical therapy, but now you're this rock star trainer over at Power Performance. Can you tell us more about that unique perspective and maybe give us some insight to how you're looking to improve the community and how you're looking to elevate family wellness, through training?
Well, I would say, I mean, I loved being a physical therapy assistant, working in the physical therapy field. I mean, that's my passion. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
What made me transform into more of a strength coach is really having more of a free range and being able to, sit down with a client and ask them, what do you want? What is your goals? Really just having an open line of communication and being able to help them a lot more than just, helping them rehab their knee replacement or, shoulder pain, able to just have a full rounded, live a healthier life. I like that and being able to have that a little bit different of a relationship with the client than it is with a patient. I kind of feel personally, but, I guess that I don't know.
Yeah, and I think, as clients are considering, who would be an ideal trainer to work with, I think that adds a level of expertise on your end, because you do have that background in that, that healing modality of physical therapy. So not only do you combine the knowledge of how to train properly, good form, all those things, but you also have the knowledge, the anatomy, the physiology. You have all of that in your back pocket from your physical therapy,
Right.
and you combine that together. And I think that just adds a level of value for the client.
Definitely. I mean, I definitely agree. And nowadays I feel like personal training or becoming a personal trainer is a very popular field that people are getting into, and unfortunately there's absolutely no background that you have to become
Yeah.
one.
Mm-hmm.
So someone can just wake up one day and say I'm going to be a personal trainer, which is great, but then have absolutely no schooling, no prior education, get hired at a Planet Fitness or
Mm-hmm.
Lifetime Fitness, and then train people. And so that's why you really need to make sure you're doing your background and your research before you pick a personal trainer or a strength
Right.
coach, because they could really hurt you, and you'd want to be able to trust the person that you're working with and you're getting advice from. So I definitely think that's important. Yes.
And I love that you mentioned that, because I think that goes across, several different industries. Take mine, for example. Just exactly what you said. There's tons of people out there who kind of just go, to a weekend seminar and then claim that they're an expert in nutrition or claim that they're an expert, spinal adjuster or something like that. So, yeah, to your point, I mean, I definitely advocate. I will shamelessly promote myself on my own podcast. Work with a qualified, trained professional, someone who knows what they're doing. And of course, we're going to advocate for Lauren on the podcast here as well.
Definitely. I mean, I think also too, like how we've talked about how we can cultivate wellness, besides communication, I think is really important. Having love, obviously that's very important, but
Huge.
really knowledge, you need to make sure that you have the knowledge necessary, but if you don't, you need to make sure you have the right tools to get the knowledge, whether that is, the right doctor or coach or, anything, family member.
So, Lauren, you touched on this earlier, the benefits of strength training for women. You talked about, some of those brain effects and some of those just overall health effects. And I think, again, back to what you were saying, a lot of women just think they should do cardio all the time to really burn that fat and get that nice lean look. But tell our listeners, answer the question, why should women strength train?
Well, that's a good question. The women that I work with really just fall in love with strength training because, it builds confidence. Most importantly, I feel like once they see what they are capable of doing and the strength that they build doing it, it becomes a little addicting. They never look back. They kind of wonder to themselves what took them so long to try it. I do hear women say sometimes, I don't lift weights because I don't want to get big and bulky like a man, which that's the furthest thing from the truth. It's just not going to happen. As a woman, we don't have enough testosterone to even build up like men do or bulk up like they do. You see female bodybuilders look like that, but they're doing it intentionally by extreme dedication and usually with the help of some type of hormone therapy. It's just not going to happen. Strength training, there are so many benefits from it. And you don't even realize you're doing it in your day-to-day life, by carrying groceries in, cleaning your house, picking up your kids. Those are all forms of strength training. So, I don't know.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about those benefits, because I think that's what our listeners would really like to hear. You mentioned some of those brain benefits. Are we talking about, you mentioned like better mood throughout the day, anything else?
Yeah, better mood and increased energy. It's great for people that have low back pain or they have neck pain or even knee pain, because strength training, you're building up your muscles, and a lot of those pains are caused from weakened muscles. So by strength training, you're curing your low back pain and your neck pain and all those things that you're trying to get relief on, that you're looking for.
Yeah, and along those same lines of the benefits there, one thing I tell my patients a lot is just the increase in growth hormone. And, while I'm not going to coach you through, training, that's something that you would specialize in, but I'll tell my patients all the time, look, when you have more growth hormone, when you increase your growth hormone through strength training or through any kind of high-intensity interval training, you're going to have decreased body fat. You're going to have shorter recovery time. You're going to have more anabolic hormones, a lot of the hormones that can get out of balance, like thyroid and hormones with cycles and all of that. Your muscle mass is going to go up, but you know what? It does look attractive. It does look good to have nice muscle tone. And also with bone density, that's a major concern for many young women. Osteoporosis, osteopenia. You don't get the signals physiologically to lay down bone matrix if you're not actually lifting weights. That's Wolff's Law. Maybe too much information for some people, but again, if you want to prevent osteoporosis, you need to be not only strength training, but also consuming adequate levels of vitamin D, K2, calcium, all those good things we talk about. Anything else to add to that, Lauren?
As far as you were saying too, along with that is also it really plays a major role in keeping a healthy heart, and that's important too for women as well. As far as everyone else too goes, but that's definitely something that's important. And I know some people, they don't strength train, or they don't like to get away from running on the treadmill or things like that, just because they're kind of nervous of, they think strength training is putting a heavy barbell on their back and squatting, this heavy extreme weight. And really, that's not it. Resistance training or strength training, it may intimidate you, but it can be done with just your body weight, kettlebells, dumbbells, sandbags, resistant bands. There's so many options out there. And that's why too, it's really great to, meet with me or, have some type of one-on-one private training atmosphere, because it might be just what you need to make you feel comfortable and to build your confidence.
Well, I should definitely have my wife talk to you, because what I really think she would benefit from would be just some nice coaching in that strength training department. So
definitely. There's a lot of fun to be had there too. I feel like personally it's a lot of fun than just walking on a treadmill endlessly. So.
Perfect. Well, Lauren, I wanted to bring you on the podcast, to hear your thoughts and insights and benefits for our listeners with regards to training, which I think we're doing an awesome job doing. However, there's another component that really caught my attention in terms of what's going on in your in your mindset, in your psyche, and all of that. And that relates to Admiral Stockdale. So if we could just kind of do a hard left turn and have you explain to our listeners about the Stockdale paradox and how that might apply if a client or someone at home with their kids and their family may be getting discouraged. Talk us through the Stockdale paradox and how someone might apply that if they are feeling a little discouraged or less than optimistic.
Oh, definitely. And I got this from the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. A little history on him because when I actually was educated on this, I didn't even know who James Stockdale was, and it really helped getting the history on him just a little bit to really grasp and understand his theory. But anyways, he was a U.S. Navy, like how you were saying.
Right.
He was awarded the Medal of Honor in the Vietnam War because, well, not only because, but he was the prisoner in war for over 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
He was tortured over and over again, and it was really hard. He was really just trying not to lose faith. So his theory is you must retain faith that you will prevail in the end, regardless of the difficulties, and at the same time, you must confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever that may be. So
beautiful.
He is really saying that he accepts the reality of his situation and then did all he could to stay positive and prevail, where he's saying that optimists fail to make it out, or they failed to make it out as prisoners because they would think, we'll get out by Christmas. Christmas would come around and they wouldn't get out. Say, we'll figure it out it'll all work out by Easter. It's going to be all right. Easter would come by and pass, and, they'd ended up dying of, I guess, just being heartbroken.
Mm-hmm.
So he really thought that it was important, and I think it's really important, obviously. You need to be honest with yourself and never doubt your goals, but at the same time, you have to be honest with yourself and of your current situation.
Right.
So you really can't lie to yourself. You have to be brutally honest, and it's hard. You have to think. You have to realize with yourself, I'm unhappy, or I'm broke, or I'm overweight, or my marriage is falling apart. You have to really be honest with yourself. You don't need to tell anyone else, but just as long as you're honest to yourself, that's when you can start assessing the situation and taking the necessary actions. So once you're honest, then take action on fixing the problem or take action to, reach your goals.
That's beautiful, Lauren. Yeah, I really wanted to bring you on to hash this out and unpack this for our listeners. You really started to go into kind of like a cultural context for us, here in our culture, but just let me know if this makes sense with what I'm saying here, if I'm applying the principles right. One thing I notice a lot with people, whether they be, trying to lose weight or trying to improve their, PR, or they're trying to make advances in their relationships with their spouse or significant other or their family, they'll say something like, with the Stockdale paradox, I want to have this goal by this date. And so it's not that I'm saying, or it's not that the Stockdale paradox is saying don't have goals. Having goals is good. Having a timeline is great. But I really think a lot of people set themselves up for emotional heartache and emotional discouragement when, that date comes or that deadline comes and goes, and they're just like nowhere near where they want to be. And I really think that they lose their forward momentum when that situation happens. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that. And it's just really important that you're not only acknowledging what your goal is and what you want to become, or what you want to change, but you need to actually make steps in making that happen. You can't just be optimistic that I want to lose weight and then not take any actions towards it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would also throw in there, I mean, I love everything you're saying, but the ability to course correct. So, I mean, I'm sure you're working with clients all the time and you're, constantly evaluating, the same way that I would work with the patient, like, hey, this is getting us really good results. This is really working. And then maybe something over here that's not really working, or, hey, we're not ready for this yet. We're not going to do that because that's actually going to make us worse. Would you agree with that as well?
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that. And not even just your clients. I struggle with it too, from a, day to day or, month to month looking back. It's hard for everyone. No one's perfect.
Right.
You just have to be constantly being aware and help yourself, stay on track.
Absolutely.
That's why it's really good to have a good support system too.
Yeah.
Whether that is your family or your coaches. I hope that all my clients would think that they can turn to me. I mean, I feel confident that they would. Yeah. But anywhere in your life, you got to make sure you have people that you can rely on and turn to.
Yeah. Well, Lauren, I mean, I think that's a great explanation of the Stockdale paradox. One of the things I like to ask guests here on Michigan Family Wellness is, you're so passionate, you're so excited, you're so good at your unique perspective and your expertise. What is your why? Why do you serve the community in this way? I mean, you could do a million other different things, but tell our listeners, why serving the community in this way really motivates and inspires you personally.
Well, I mean, simply put, I love it. It's my passion. I really love it. The book, like I said, From Good to Great by Jim Collins, he says in there, if you love what you do, then that's the only way that you're going to be able to become great at it, So I guess I think, why not? Why wouldn't I serve my community this way? I love fitness. I love working out. I love learning new things in the industry, and I love helping others. So why wouldn't I use my passion for fitness to help others? It makes sense to me.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, no, I know, Lauren, you've mentioned, the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. One of the things I like to ask people too is, what should people be reading or listening? I know, aside from this podcast, of course, but do you have any other, books that you're reading or resources that you might be able to equip people with for our listeners?
Yeah, definitely. So, I talked on the Stockdale Paradox and, the book Good to Great, which is great and awesome. And it's new to me as well. I've been really trying to apply it a lot more because prior to that book, I read Zen and the Art of Happiness.
Okay.
And forgive me, I can't remember who it's by, but this book was just, I mean, it was life-changing to me. Honestly, it really was. And a quote that they really repeat over and over in the book is, everything that happens to me is the best possible thing that can happen to me. And really just believing that everything that happens, I mean, I believe it anyways, that everything that happens to me is the best possible thing that can happen to me. Meaning, I guess, it's all going to work out. It's all going to be okay. It's, everything is meant to happen. So even the bad things per se that happen, it transforms you, it changes your perspective, and it makes you a better person, Even, the silly quote my mom used to tell me when I was younger regarding Santa Claus, you must believe to receive. And that, really
awesome.
I mean, she told me that all the time, and it stuck with me. You need to believe that you are who you say you are, or who you want to be, or, the qualities about you, to receive that, same, I guess, to receive the respect and love and, appreciation in return. You got to love yourself.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren, you are bringing the content and value today. I really appreciate it. One more thing here. Let's see. Your top practical applications. We're really all about, the real take-home things that people can do. So, someone listens to this podcast, maybe it's the first time they're listening to Michigan Family Wellness. What would you give them as possibly a top 2 or a top 3 practical applications that they can do to further cultivate and elevate wellness in their family?
Well, oh man, that's a big question because, there's so much you can do. And, obviously, you're interviewing me as a strength coach, and, obviously I would say, you need to get out there and you need to exercise and, eat healthy and things like that. But really just to cultivate wellness in your family, I would really say communication's a big one. I mean,
Yeah.
it's huge. I can't even stress enough how important it is to just talk and communicate with each other, with your coworkers, with your immediate family, with your clients,
Absolutely.
your customers, everything, your church family.
Mm-hmm.
But that and having a positive mindset, but also driven and disciplined. That's, what I got from the Stockdale Paradox. Really believe that, everything that happens to you is the best possible thing that can happen to you. And then I would say have good mentors in your life. Really have people you can lean on and you can trust and confide in, and, whether that's your parents, grandparents, coaches, doctors, really just have people that you connect with and you can learn from.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Lauren. I really think our listeners are going to be able to take those practical applications and feel equipped to start impacting their lives right away.
Oh, well, thank you.
Awesome. So real quick, let's say again that I'm listening to this podcast and I'm inspired. I'm not currently working with any trainers or whatever, but I've, been inspired and I feel compelled to start training with Lauren. Where do I go? Where are the resources to get, someone in touch with you?
Well, I mean, if you're in your car listening to this, I would say change your GPS on your map to 12403 Stark Road.
Perfect.
Stop in. I mean, we love people just to stop in and see the gym and, see what it's all about.
Uh-huh.
So, come in. But if you're, at your home and you want to just look us up online, you can go to Power Performance Gym, but it's POWR performancegym.com.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then you can check us out on Facebook, which is Power Performance Gym.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can email me too at POWRperformancetraining@gmail.com. So just Power Performance Training. But yeah, any of those things are actually great. We would love to talk to anyone about possibly training or just getting any kind of advice, answering questions, anything like that.
Perfect. Yeah, and I would refer everyone to, to go back and listen to, I believe it's episode 2, where we really talk more about how, kind of Power Performance Gym, is much more than just, another training gym. They really dive into a lot of nutrition, and they really look at the person from a holistic perspective. And I know Lauren does the same thing as well for her clients.
Yeah, Ben Knapp is definitely the owner of Power Performance Gym, is definitely the nutrition expert. So I'm confident I bring all my clients in that come to me about nutrition advice, set them up with a meeting with Ben, and he helps them out tremendously. I mean, it's amazing all the things that he knows.
And we're going to be linking in the show notes at MichiganFamilyWellness.com everything that we've mentioned, to be able to get in touch with Lauren for training and to be able to get in touch with Power Performance. All of that is going to be in the show notes at MichiganFamilyWellness.com for this episode. Furthermore, if you're on your phone and you just tap the album art, it should have the show notes pop up right there, and there's going to be links. Everything that we've talked about will be linked right there as well, so you can go right from your phone to access that information. Lauren, thanks so much for being on the podcast. Do you have anything else that you want to drop on our listeners before we sign off here?
Oh, no, I would honestly just like to thank you again for inviting me to be on this with you. It's awesome. It's a pleasure to be on this podcast with you.
Absolutely. Well, I'm looking forward to more collaboration with yourself and with Power Performance.
Definitely.
Yeah, as I love to say here at Michigan Family Wellness, we can do far more together than we could ever do apart. Coming to you from beautiful Southeast Michigan, I am your host, Dr. Wallner, and this is Michigan Family Wellness.
Now that you've been equipped with the latest in family wellness solutions, we want to encourage you to apply these strategies right away. But the thing is, there's still so much to learn. Connect with Dr. Wallner's Chiropractic and Nutrition Office by going to MichiganFamilyWellness.com and click the newsletter sign-up button to join the informative and supportive community of chiropractic wellness. You will also receive as a gift from Dr. Wallner a copy of Michigan Family Wellness Solutions. an invaluable resource containing dynamic tools to elevate family health and vitality. Michigan Family Wellness wants to thank you for being part of today's podcast. Please subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and give us a 5-star rating and review.